If there's one thing that the Create mod is good for, it's making doors. Every base has got to have one, so why not make it fancy? Today we're building 9 doors that start simple, but get increasingly over-engineered until I am left crying, curled up in a ball on my bathroom floor. I have been very sick for the last week, so I've been in a little bit of a building frenzy. As you can see behind me, that's a lot of doors. There's 9 doors, don't ask me why there's 9, that's just as many as I could build at the time, including that monstrosity down the end. I'm very excited to show you these. There's some Create tech that I've never seen done before, and there'll be a world download in the comments so you guys can check these out. I'm excited to see what you can build using these ideas. Remember, if you want early access to the world download, there is a hidden word throughout the video that unlocks the link. So keep your eyes peeled. Let's get to it. Hold on a minute, that's not a door. I said we were going to start simple, and this is about as simple as you can get. It's a Minecraft door. You can open and close it. You can power it to open and close it. So how can we make this a little more creaty? Well, I thought we could have a little robot butler who comes and opens the door for you. Thank you. And that's kind of all there is for this one. They do get better. It wouldn't be a Minecraft door video without a castle. Let's be honest, building castles in Minecraft is pretty classic. This is a great example of using 2 different types of movement to create a little bit more pizzazz. Yes, I did just say pizzazz. We have the portcullis that's on a gantry that's going up and down, and the drawbridge, which is on a mechanical bearing, so it's rotating. And the redstone's really simple too. Our input triggers 2 different lines of redstone. One reverses the direction of the gear shift on the gantry, and the other calls a sequence gear shift on the mechanical bearing, which just turns, waits, and turns back. It's so simple, even a nitwit could do it. No. Oh. Door number 3 is a little more modern. We've got a revolving door like you would see in a shopping mall. I think Chosen Architect did this on the Just Create SMP. All you need is a mechanical bearing and to supply it power. And if you set the mechanical bearing to only place when anchor is destroyed, it can spin forever. Even if the power gets interrupted, it's not going to break anything. The most important thing is to make sure the door spins really slowly, because like in real life, we have to make uncomfortable eye contact with everybody as we go in and out. And inside this dragon hunting lodge, I guess, we find another example of a spinning door, the Scooby-Doo fireplace door.
Jinkies!
What has been going on in here? Ugh. Door number 4. I've already lost count. I think it's door number 4. It's an Irish door, a real Create mod classic. These are a fantastic example of lots of moving parts, creating a really beautiful pattern. Look at that. Super clean. Really like that. I think it's going to close on me. Oh, just made it through. Now, this again, really simple. Everything is run off a sequence gear shift. It's turning forwards, it's waiting, it's turning backwards. I've just made the angle a little bit smaller than 90 degrees. You just adjust it based on the size of your door. I think these tend to work better when they're a lot bigger because you can get a much nicer shape to each individual blade. And the only difficult thing about this one is making sure that each blade is turning in the right direction, because they all have to turn in slightly different directions depending on where they are in the door, and making sure that they're all powered. Simple, really. It definitely worked first time for me. Oh, damn it. You may have already realized that I've taken heavy inspiration from one particular YouTuber for this video. It's Mumbo Jumbo. So I thought we'd make a giant Mumbo piston door. Look at it go! Oh, that's cool. The original is pretty cool. I really like this giant version. Obviously the redstone for something like this is way simpler with Create, but I did put the effort in to put the double piston extender at the bottom with this giant piston, which I think was totally worth it to achieve that piston door opening and closing effect. It's obviously a lot slower than a regular piston door, but it's also a lot bigger. And inside, it houses my shrine to the man himself. I love this effect. I'm really glad I made this. They look so cool, especially when you add the piston sounds in post. This door is where we start to get into some really wacky Create shenanigans. Inside this very ornate hallway is a door, and if we hit this button, we'll see it's a secret hidden staircase door. That looks so clean. And it leads up to this little hidden library. The way this door works is super interesting. It's a linear chassis tower with a bunch of mechanical bearings placed in front of it. And each of those mechanical bearings is keeping the orientation of each of the Y levels in front of it. And each of those pieces becomes our stairs. The really cool thing is that we're using string to attach the stairs inside the hallway to our mechanical bearings, which is really tidy. I didn't know you could glue string. It's a really tidy way of having basically invisible connections for your contraptions. Let me build this out over here and you can see it a little clearer. I think you can see a little better just how cool this is. It looks like our stairs are floating. Normally I would use glass panes to do this kind of thing where I want something relatively invisible, but string is way harder to see. It is invisible from this angle. And that's really useful in this build because we don't get any ugly clipping through the wall. Obviously, this one is set up to never place. But I am wondering now I've seen this, whether we could do something interesting passing the stairs backwards and forwards between floors. I'll be back in a minute. It's been a little more than a minute. It's actually been something like 20. I got a little carried away, but I think what I've come up with here is really interesting. I haven't tested it yet. If it works first time, you have to subscribe. Here we go. So we have our door working as it did before, but then when it resets, the next mechanical bearing in the chain grabs it, which allows us to go from the first floor to the second to the third to the fourth, and then it comes all the way back down. It's like a climbing, snaking staircase. And it works. Amazing, it works. So if you didn't quite catch it, what's happening is that our first bearing is obviously placing this as a contraption, which means it can't be interacted with, but then it brings it back and it places, which means that the next mechanical bearing can grab it. However, the next mechanical bearing turns 3 times, but obviously it's still a contraption because we can only have it placed near initial angle, and we're currently 180 degrees off the initial angle. So we have this deployer here, which basically acts as if it's right-clicking the bearing, which places the contraption and allows the top mechanical bearing to grab it. I'm amazed that it works. It's really cool. You could absolutely see this kind of thing being used for a mini game. You could set it up so that it's not a big sequence and that actually each floor is callable. I think it just makes a really neat way to do stairs with Create. Oh, made it to the top. Oh no! These next 2 doors are more about the way that we unlock the doors than the doors themselves. I'm going to show you how this first one works, see if you can figure out how the locking mechanism works. Each of these valve handles corresponds to their coloured lock on the door. We can turn them around. If I try and activate the door now, nothing happens. But if I now move all of our coloured locks into the correct positions, the door should open. How cool is that? I'll give you 5 seconds to figure out how it's done, and then I'll tell you. Have you got it? So the way this door works is we have a gantry on top, a really short little gantry here, that pulls our door forwards by 1 block, aligning it with this mechanical piston at the bottom, and the mechanical piston is the thing that then actually opens the door by rotating it 90 degrees. The reason it can't pull forward when these locks are in the wrong position is because these locks are actually not glued to the door. You can see each of these locks is their own individual blue bit, and the door is one big blue bit, indicating that the rest of the door is glued together, but these locks are separate. On the other side of the door, we have these linear chassis that are set to grab 2 blocks away from their sticky side, which is the side facing into the door. These linear chassis are the correct positions for our locks. If we have a look at this chassis, we can see it's reaching out to grab the lock on the other side. So if the locks are not in that position, where they're aligned with the chassis, they are not connected to the door, which means that the gantry cannot pull forward because it's detecting a separate entity in front of the door. I think this is a super cool kind of organic way to implement Create mod physics, if you like, with a door locking mechanism. It's a combination lock. You know, you could have these chassis set up in any number of places. You could make different shaped locks so that they rotate to different blocks. It's a super cool mechanism. Really like this one. I'm also super proud of this one. This lock is a combination lock using hand cranks. Here we have our door. As you can see, there's kind of big chunks of it missing currently. And what we need to do is come over to these hand cranks and turn them to activate these bolts that shoot into the door. Each of the cranks has a different value, which means you have to turn them a different number of times to get the bolt to lock into the door. I don't know when this one's going to happen. There it is. And when all the bolts are in the door, that's what activates the door to open. This one is quite a bit more complicated, so let me try and talk you through how it works. Our hand crank combination lock is this system here. Each of the hand cranks is hooked up to one of these mechanical bearings, which has a small arm in front of it, which has a redstone contact on the end. So as you rotate the mechanical bearing, this redstone contact is moving around in a circle, and when it comes into contact with the first of the redstone contacts, that activates a piston, which pushes a bolt into the door. If you land on the second redstone contact, it reactivates the piston and pulls the bolt back out of the door, so people can't just spin the hand crank to activate the lock. Each one of these has a slightly different position, and the interesting thing about this is that you can make these handles longer, and you can also make your hand crank spin slower or faster to determine the range of numbers in your lock. Each of the piston bolts also has a redstone contact on it, and as they slot into the door, they make contact, and that triggers this AND gate here, which starts the door sequence itself. These door locking mechanisms have got me itching to make a big vault door. So for the last door of the video, I'm going to combine a bunch of these techniques that we've used and see just how ridiculously over-engineered a door we can make. Door number 9. What a doozy. There is so much redstone down here, I can barely fit it on my screen. This is all the redstone required to run this door, minus a little bit that's up here. I'm trying not to show you the door itself just yet, it's in this big box. But I want to talk about how we've integrated some of the systems that we've already used into this final door. If you haven't already guessed, the door is going to be themed on a Fallout-style vault door, specifically the Fallout 4 door. Play the clip better to me. No, not this clip. This is embarrassing. Oh, I missed every shot. In Fallout 4, a big drill lock thingamabob engages with the door, activates a bunch of physical locks on the door, pulls the big cog door out of the wall, and then rolls it away along a small track. So what I've done is implement our hand crank combination lock as a means of unlocking that drill and sending it into the door. And once the drill is in the door, the player has to insert these items on my hotbar into another combination lock to allow the physical locks to connect to the chassis, like we did in door 7. Then once the door is unlocked, we're using our string and mechanical bearing technique from door 6 to make it open in a particularly spectacular way. I think it's about time I just showed you it in action. I'm not dead, I just went into the bright light at the end of the tunnel. I love the way that door rolls off. I think it looks super cool. Let me know what you think. If you've made it to this point in the video, you probably enjoy the content that I'm putting out, I hope, or maybe you're just asleep. But if you do enjoy the content, I just wanted to say that memberships are now open. I'm setting the first tier as low as YouTube will possibly let me to make it accessible, and a second slightly higher tier that I don't expect anybody to pick, because I want to just grow the community. And if you're in a position to support that, and you want to support making these wacky, goofy, create contraptions and sharing them with other people, that would be amazing. It would mean the world to me, and it keeps the schematics and world downloads for videos like these free for everybody else. And I hope that really encourages people to try and do silly stuff with Create. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more wacky Create contraptions. Most importantly, comment your ideas for things you want to see me make with Create. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Oh, it's going to be embarrassing if I don't have time to put sound effects on this.